I would like, we're going to start here, right?
Reconvene the meeting. We're going to do the pledge.
Okay. Okay, I would like to invite the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, Ed Atkinson, to lead us in the flag salute.
Thank you, President Calhoun. Will you please stand and join me for the pledge to our flag? Please place your hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. The board members met in closed session, discussed the following items: public employees discipline, dismissal, release, confidential people matters, and student discipline, public employee evaluation for Mr. McLaughlin, Dr. McLaughlin. Okay. Is there a motion to approve the minutes for June 3rd, 2025? Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Do board members have any correspondence they would like to share? No student board member and school reports. Timely information from the board superintendent. If there's any information that the board members would like to share. No? Okay, does the superintendent have any information he would like to share? At this time, we will hear from our employee association. I would like to, I would like to invite CSEA President Joni Best to the podium to give an update.
It's Joni. Oh, she is here. I didn't see her. Your mic is on, by the way.
Hello, Dr. McLaughlin, President Calhoun, and members of the board. I want to begin first by apologizing for missing the last board meeting. As you know, Billy Hagar will serve as CSA president for this next year through December 31st. I'm confident I'm leaving CSCA in capable hands. Many of our chapter members have completed their responsibilities, so my report will be brief today. On May 21st, Marina and I attended the May revised meeting, which we found to be informative and helpful as we look forward for the next school year. In recognition of Classified School Employees Week, I shared information with the board earlier in May, and I want to extend a special thank you to Marina Devine, Chapter 82 President. Her prepared personalized goodie bags for every classified employee, and she delivered them to every site, including the schools, the DSC, the TTC, and district office. A thoughtful gesture that was very well received. Regarding negotiations, I want to sincerely thank both teams for their collaboration. I appreciate the respectful dialogue from both sides and always felt that there was genuine effort to understand one another. Special thanks to Ruben for his clarity and patience in walking us through the district budget and the proposal. While we may not have agreed on every detail, we maintain mutual respect and a willingness to find a common ground. The next step is to provide finalization information to CSEA members, followed by an electronic vote to ratify the contract, which is expected late August, early September at the very latest. I also want to thank Dr. McLaughlin for his transparency, vision, and openness to hearing CSEA's concerns, and his support has meant a great deal to me. On a personal level, I'm officially joined the CSA retirement unit, which is very odd for me to say, which allows me to stay involved with Chapter 82 in all areas except for voting on the contract. Okay. As my final report as president, I want to express my sincere gratitude for the opportunity to serve and to meet regularly with Dr. McLaughlin, Dr. Atkinson, and Mr. Miller. These conversations have been instrumental in strengthening our partnerships and advancing the interests of classified employees. Thank you again for your support and collaboration. Ed. See if I can get through this. Thank you. Almost been. Congratulations on your retirement. It's truly a pleasure working with you in both as my roles as personal technician and president. Your leadership and dedication have made a lasting impact, and there's much I will miss. That said, I won't miss that infamous page on the CBA, or hearing that phrase, no good goes unpunished. Some things are just left alone in retirement. Wishing you the best in your next chapter. And thank you all for your time, and I wish you all a wonderful summer. Thank you.
I would like to invite the Assistant Superintendent of Administrative Services, Dr. Carl Zener, to the podium to introduce our honorees and lead the recognitions.
Thank you, President Calhoun, members of the board, and Dr. McLaughlin. It's my pleasure to introduce our Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, Dr. Atkinson, to introduce one of our new assistant principals. Dr. Atkinson.
We don't have to take pictures, do we? We don't have to take no pictures.
Thank you, Dr. Zener.
Dr. Zener's taking-
President Calhoun, members of the board, Dr. McLaughlin, tonight it's my privilege to introduce one of our newest members to the administrative team of the Fullerton Joint Union High School District. I would like to call and ask Joel Medina to join me at the podium. Joel has been selected to serve as assistant principal at La Sierra and La Vista High Schools. Joel joined our district in 2022, where he has served as EL Family Liaison in the 2022-23 school year and Student Intervention Liaison since 2023. Prior to joining the district, Joel taught English Language Arts, ELD, and AVID at Valley High School and Godinez Fundamental High School in Santa Ana from 2017 to 2022. We're very happy to have you join our team, Joel. Would you like to say a few words and introduce your guest?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me tonight and recognizing me. I want to thank my wife, Rachel, who's here with me today. We're about to celebrate 1 year of marriage. And my new principal as well, Mark Kailiponi, who's here supporting me as well. I really appreciate you being here as well. Thank you so much for this opportunity, everyone. I've been in this district only 3 years, but it has been such an honor and a joy to work with people who really love and care for our students and our families and want everyone to succeed. And I'm just so excited for this next chapter. So many people have believed in me since I've been here, and I just want to do everyone proud. So thank you for this opportunity. I'm looking forward to it.
Congratulations, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Atkinson. Congratulations, Joel. I'd now like to invite to the podium our superintendent, Dr. McLaughlin, for a special recognition.
Well, good evening, President Calhoun, members of the board, audience present and online. I'm glad we brought the tissue over, Joni, because this is our moment to honor our outgoing Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, Dr. Ed Atkinson. Dr. Atkinson, will you please join me at the podium? Oh, look at that. I thought you were going to put his 1994 picture. I've seen those pictures, too. Well, this is my great pleasure to honor Dr. Atkinson as he enters the world of retirement. This is his last official board meeting. And so I want to read some things just so I don't forget. It obviously is an emotional time. We work so closely together, and you've given so much to this district. So, Ed, if you'll indulge, I know you hate this stuff, but you've done it to so many people. It's your turn. Ed's story is a special one, as he has been part of our district for most of his life. Ed began as a student at Lowell High School in earlier, before transferring to Sunny Hills and graduating in 1983. Even in those years, he was known to have already shown a lot of characteristics we see today: leadership, grit, and yes, humor. That would go on to define his legacy. He played football at Sunny Hills and Fullerton College, and Ed often jokes that the only thing that kept him from playing professionally, this is his favorite joke, the only thing that kept him playing professionally was his size and his ability. But we all know he had the heart of a champion. His passion for the game led him back to Sunny Hills High School as a football coach, even before he was credentialed. He also student taught at Sunny Hills, already planting the seed of what would become an extraordinary 34-year career in this district. In 1991, Ed was officially hired as an English teacher at Sunny Hills High School. He taught with heart and purpose and continued coaching both JV and freshman football, helping shape young lives both in the classroom and on the field. This isn't even the hard part for me yet, Ed. That's how much you mean to me. I want you to know. He was quickly recognized for his leadership, and Ed became one of the first deans of attendance at Sunny Hills High School, one of just 6 at the time, and served as a WASP coordinator. These early years reflected his commitment to the academic excellence, accountability, and student support. From there, Ed's path into administration flourished. He was assistant principal of student activities at Troy, principal of APIO at Fullerton for 3 years, and then returned home as principal of Sunny Hills for 4 years. In every role, Ed led with integrity, clarity, and unwavering dedication to students and staff. He never sought attention, but his impact always spoke volumes. For the past 16 years, Ed has served as our Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, a role that demands compassion, diplomacy, and resilience. And he has brought all 3 every single day. Whether hiring new talent, supporting site leaders, navigating negotiations, or mentoring emerging administrators, Ed has been a steady and trusted presence. As we say farewell to his chapter, Ed's career, we also get to look forward to what's next for Ed. So here's a list of what's next for Ed as he's shared with us. Morning walks on the Fullerton Trail with his dog, reclaiming his title as the guy with the nicest yard in the neighborhood. Right, this has been something he's aspiring for the last several years I've been around. Cheering on his son's hockey games, completing his vintage hockey puck collection. He has aspirations to read every United States president's biography, so working through that. And there's even talk of writing a book. All right, so we'll see about that. But you have, the world is open to you to do these things. Eventually, Ed plans to possibly move to Tennessee, where he'll enjoy a slower pace, nightly fire pits, and no doubt the nicest yard on the block once again. Ed, your influence stretches far beyond HR or any office. You have been a mentor, a leader, a coach, and a friend. You've built a culture grounded in care, fairness, and people-first values. You've helped others discover the best in themselves. Today, we don't just celebrate your retirement, we celebrate a life of purpose, a career of profound and lasting impact, a journey that began in our classrooms as a student and ended as a district leader, while always staying rooted to service. We will miss your thoughtful leadership, your dry wit, your steady presence, but we are so happy for the well-deserved adventures ahead. As we did with Sandy last week, from all of us, we thank you, Ed, and you continue to live in the community, so we know it's not goodbye. We know it's see you around town, and if you know Ed and you have something and you invite him, a la Sanji Berg in Tennessee was playing last summer, Ed will show up and be there. So I'm sure you'll be welcoming any invite to spend time with people from the district. So on behalf of the Board of Trustees, everybody that you've influenced and impact, we just want to congratulate you on your retirement, Ed. Congratulations. So we have some parting gifts, right? So you've given away so many in your career. So Ed, you too get a clock, which thanks you for your service and dedication to the district. So there's your clock. So, but we also know Ed has a love for black and white photos, and he has a deep love for this district. So we wanted to capture that with a picture of the Fullerton High School clock, where we spent so much time, which is also in our logo. Or a crest, and it says student to assistant superintendent, human resources, 1981 to 2025. Thank you, Ed, for your service. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Would you like to say a few words?
I would. Thank you, Dr. McLaughlin. Members of the board, I just want to say thank you. It has been my pleasure and privilege to work for this district for many years. I appreciate your trust in allowing me to serve in this capacity. And I am truly a product of this district. And anything that was said about me today or tonight is a result of the leadership and the mentoring that I received throughout my career in this district. I thank you for the work that you do. You're a tremendous board, and I know my son is a student in this district, and I couldn't ask for a better district leadership. So thank you very much.
You guys stand here still. Dr. Calhoun, I'd like to invite the board to offer any thoughts if you'd like.
Well, Ed, I didn't really know you when I came here, but I found out you were at Fullerton College when I was there, and you were awesome. We were champions. You're a champion here, too. So I want to say thank you, and I'm looking forward to great things happening for you in Tennessee, where there's lots of music. So enjoy it, and I guess you love the garden, so I hope it's the most beautiful garden on the street. Thank you. Congratulations.
No, Ed, I want to thank you so much for your dedication to education and to this district. When I first met you 7 years ago, I was like, man, this guy looks so serious. And over the years, from our mutual friend, I got to see a different side of Ed. And this is kind of the Ed I like, the one with this big old smile face. And I think retirement will allow you to do that more. And so I want to say congratulations and thank you for all your work over here.
Joanne?
Well, having served in Angie's role, but in a different district, I had a little bit more insight into the daily work that's done as an HR assistant superintendent. And it can be grueling, it can be endless, and yet it can also be gratifying. And you took such great pride in helping people through their best times. I shouldn't say through their best times, but as they go through their best times, as well as maybe their not so best times. And that's not even counting negotiations. So appreciate all your work. And by Joni's tribute alone, the really powerful, lasting, positive impact you've had on others. Thank you.
Ms. Kleisker?
Well, I want to thank you for your years of dedication and service to the district. And every time I see John Berkeley, he asks me how you're doing. So I will make sure to report this new event to him as soon as I see him next. But I just want to say thank you for everything you've done for Fullerton Joint. We have been through some tough years during COVID with plexiglass and Zoom meetings and really tough, challenging times. And you were a part of the district leadership that got us through that. Yeah. And I thank you for that and for all of your years of leadership in the district and negotiations. And, like Joanne was saying, HR is, you deal with tough stuff sometimes. And I didn't know you were funny at first either. Same. You were so serious when I first met you, and kind of intimidating because you were so you have such a presence and you were so serious. But then, as it turns out, he's actually really funny. Totally. So thank you, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Ms. Bucci?
Yeah, I'm glad she was bringing a little humor because I was getting really sad when Steve was talking. You've heard me say before, congratulations on your retirement, but I am always really sad when wonderful people leave our district. And I loved what you said about him, Steve, but there were a couple of words I was thinking about you, Ed. One of them is integrity and the other one is kindness. And I think those are two words that really demonstrate the kind of man that you are. And I always trusted you. I mean, whatever you told me, I knew it was true. So I'm sorry you're leaving our district. One question, from Lowell to Sunny Hills, how did that happen? Yeah, but didn't Lowell split between La Habra and Sonora? How did you get to Sunny?
I lived just down the street. I was a small pocket of about 15 kids who went to Sunny Hills.
Okay, but then how did you get to Lowell? Did you had a fake address, is that what you're saying? Oh, okay. Okay, good. Well, thank you. Well, thank you for everything you've done and good luck with the next things you're going to do. And your son. I love hearing stories about him. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I would. Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to introduce my wife, Lisa, and my son, Tig. Both were here when I was introduced as Assistant Superintendent, Tyke was about a year old, but he's grown up a little bit since then. So I want to thank them both because, this is a job that requires a lot of time and attention, so I appreciate their understanding throughout my career. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to call for recess. That's what it's- Order. At this time, we will call for public comments for items that are not on the agenda.
None at this time?
Okay, let's move forward. Does the superintendent have any information he would like to share?
Not at this time.
We have an action item, revised 2025 schedule of regular meeting of the Board of Trustee. Revised 2025 schedule of regular meeting of the Board of Trustee of the Fullerton Joint Union High School District now presented for approval. Is there a motion to approve the revised 2025 schedule of a regular meeting of the Board of Trustees?
Move for approval.
I second. Any discussion?
Dr. Was it?
I second.
Oh,
He-
Dr. Calhoun, I first. Just for, Dr. Calhoun second. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in too quick, but just for clarification for the audience at home, the request is to move the meeting from Tuesday, the 22nd to Monday, the 21st. So it's a one-day move back on that.
In July.
In July, sorry. Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? 5-0. Education Assessment Service, this is an action item. Approval and adoption of the Local Control Accountability Plan. I would like to call Assistant Superintendent Education Assessment Dr. Sylvia Coffin, I'm used to saying Sylvia, Dr. Sylvia Coffin to present the information on the LCAP.
Thank you and good evening, President Calhoun, members of the board, Dr. McLaughlin, and guests. In June 2013, the legislature adopted a new funding system for schools in California known as the Local Control Funding Formula, LCFF. The purpose of the new funding formula was to give school districts more local control over how funds are spent. As part of the LCFF, the legislature included an accountability component known as the Local Control and Accountability Plan, also known as the LCAP. Each school district in developing its LCAP must address 8 state priorities and solicit input and consult with stakeholders. As part of the process, each school district is required to hold at least one public hearing to solicit the recommendations and comments of the members of the public. Tonight, at the second board meeting following the required June 3rd, 2025 presentation, where we shared a draft of the LCAP and an overview of changes prior to the public hearing, the board is required to formally adopt the LCAP. After the June 3rd public hearing, Ed Services did receive some community feedback and made some corrections to clarify terminology and fix grammatical errors. An example of this would be the change from homeless to homeless youth. Additional data was also added to the reflection of the LCAP to include all school data on suspensions. Lastly, after reviewing feedback from Orange County Department of Education, we confirmed that no Fullerton Joint Union High School District schools are in need of comprehensive school improvement, known as CSI. And therefore, the narrative within these sections of the LCAP have been replaced with not applicable, NA. No structural or budget changes were recommended or made to the LCAP. It is recommended that the Local Control Accountability Plan, once again the LCAP, be approved and adopted, and that the superintendent or designee be authorized to execute the necessary documents. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the Local Control Accountability Plan?
Move approval.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? 5-0. This is an action item. Approval and adoption of the 25-26 fiscal year budget. I would like to call on Assistant Superintendent of Business Service, Ruben Hernandez, to present the information on 25-26 fiscal year budget.
Thank you and good evening, President Calhoun, members of the board, and Dr. McLaughlin. Pursuant to Education Code 52062, the adopted budget process for all California school districts requires 2 public board meetings to ensure transparency, stakeholder engagement, and compliance with state regulations. This first meeting, held on June 3rd, included a comprehensive presentation of the district's proposed 2025-26 budget, outlining projected revenues, expenditures, multi-year projections, and highlighting the district's reserves level. In accordance with Education Code, this meeting also included a public hearing to provide members of the community an opportunity to comment on the proposed budget prior to adoption. As shared during the June 3rd presentation, the state of California has not yet finalized the 2025-26 budget, and the governor and the legislator continue their budget process, and the governor has until July 1st to sign the final budget into law. In absence of a finalized state budget, the district's adopted budget is based on the most current information available, including the governor's May revise and guidance from the California Department of Education, as well as others in the industry such as School Services of California. Once the state budget is enacted, we will bring forward any material changes to the board through what is known as the 45-day budget revision, only if necessary. And tonight marks the second required meeting in the adopted budget process. In support of transparency and public access, all documents associated with the 2025-26 adopted budget were made available for public review on the district's website beginning May 29th, and were also attached to the June 13th board agenda, which was posted publicly on June 6th. And the budget reflects a positive certification verifying that the district will meet the minimum requirement of 3% reserve for all 3 years and the fiscal year starting the fiscal year 2025-26. In accordance with the state's fiscal standards. And at this time, it is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the 2025-26 adopted budget as submitted. This concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have.
And Dr. Calhoun, if I may jump in, Mr. Hernandez, I believe it was the June 3rd and June 10th.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the 25-26 fiscal year budget?
Move approval. Second.
Any discussion? I just want to ask a few questions. Right now, we have about $224 million that's being adopted for the year, as of right now. I know we get money all the time from the feds, correct?
So that includes federal and state dollars. That is correct.
Okay, all right. So, let's see. So all the time, federal monies come in January, or just every 3 months? How's that work?
No, those dollars come in depending on the type of grant that is focused around for those federal dollars. So some of them come in as we spend them, and we submit reports, and those dollars come in as we spend them. Other dollars are funded up front, depending on the types of grants those are associated with in the federal government.
And in our reserve, we have how much?
We're currently averaging about 31% throughout all 3 years of our multi-year projection.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay. Call for a vote. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? 5-0. Facilities update. I would like to call on Assistant Superintendent of Business Service Ruben Hernandez and the Senior Director of Facilities and Maintenance and Operation Ben Madsen. Following the presentation, ask if the board members have any questions. This is not an action item.
Good evening, and thank you, President Calhoun, members of the board, and Dr. McLaughlin. So for tonight's presentation will be a recap of our previous presentation around our update around facilities. We're calling this part 3 of that presentation, as we've been learning through what it means to have different tools in our belt, so to speak, in regards to construction delivery methods. And so back in April 8th is when we first introduced this concept, and then on May 13th, we had a part 2 of that. And then tonight, we'll talk a little bit more about the most effective and efficient delivery methods for our upcoming Measure I, Measure Al projects. And then we'll talk a little bit more about the lease back and the resolution process that keeps us compliant for that particular delivery method. And so as the board recalls, this slide here has been something we've kind of anchored on in regards to how we deliver our facility programs. And so as you can see here, Measure I had a remaining dollar amount of approximately $4 million. And then as we go through each of these different funding mechanisms, you'll see how we're going to be able to deliver the next set of delivery facility master plan projects that we've identified. And when we take a look at all these different funding mechanisms and we add it up in totality, we're looking at about $551 million through the accessing Measure I, Measure Al, state matching dollars, and any additional state dollars that may be available to us through either some sort of financial hardship due to the type of buildings. Right now, we're estimating that to be around $20 million, so that's the bottom section that you see from the state. That number could be as high as 30 million, but we need to identify those buildings appropriately and submit the appropriate applications. But as of right now, we're doing a conservative estimate for state matching dollars around hardship. So with that, let's talk a little bit more about our construction delivery method options that we have available. And so this was a slide that we saw back on April 8th, where we identified the design bid build approach, where we had three different project methods that we could deliver in this concept. And that was a hard bid, that was construction management, multi-prime, and then construction management agency. These are three different areas in which we can deliver a design bid build approach. And then we also have introduced these other two concepts, which is design build. That's typically a bigger entity, $200+ million type project. Typically, you don't see that on a K-12 setting, more on the community side, education side of building. And then lease-back, which is something that's also new to our district, and that's what we've been discussing over the past few presentations. And so when we looked at the two delivery methods that made the most sense for our upcoming projects, we looked at the design bid build, hard bid, and that was a project range of anywhere from $1 up to $12 million is kind of what we were looking at. And then the lease-back was a range of anywhere from 10 million to 60 million. And then it also taking into consideration the breadth of projects, how big these projects were, how many we're trying to deliver simultaneously, allowing us to be able to deliver at a higher level with a lease-back approach. And then in this particular approach, identifying these two delivery methods, the reason why we chose this approach was because our timeline to deliver the projects that we have in the pipeline will be starting spring, summer 2026, where we break ground on most of these projects, and then the expectation of completing these projects by the summer or fall of 2028. So as you can see, to mitigate some of those escalation costs that are out there, we are going to deliver upwards of $145 million worth of projects over the course of the next 2 years. So it's really important for us to identify the appropriate delivery methods to combat potential escalation costs. And so this was a chart we also saw at our April 8th board meeting. This is a breakdown of how we've delivered our projects throughout the Measure I process. And really, this approach was to have an architect come on board, design it, get it approved through Division State of Architects, and then we would go out and hard bid the project to try to get the lowest bid possible. So we did that through the Measure I process, and we're actually going to close out the Measure I process with the Sonora Science Lab. So that'll be coming, breaking ground summer 26. And then the next delivery method we're looking at for the next few projects is going to be the lease-back. And this delivery method project allows us to design with the architects and simultaneously with our contractors to identify the project in its totality before we actually break ground. This mitigates a lot of potential changes to the design as our architects design and our contractors build. When they're not in the room at the same time, we miss opportunities to mitigate some of those escalations and costs. So with lease-back, it's going to allow us to be able to deliver those projects with that approach. And so we've identified our Fullerton Union High School two-story athletic building, groundbreaking this around spring or summer 2026. We're going to use lease-back to deliver this project. We're looking at the Troy seismic modernization as well, and this is a groundbreaking as well in the summer 2026, laying the foundation for our interim housing, and then sometime in that summer breaking ground on the first building to be determined to do the seismic and modernization. And then the last lease-back will be for all three of our fields. And I apologize, I meant to put these in order in which they were going to be delivered, but the numbers are listed to the side of them. So the lease-back for all three of these fields will go Troy High School first, Sonora, and then Sunny Hills to close out those three track and field projects. And so with that, I'm going to ask Mr. Madsen to come up next to talk about the timeline for lease-back.
Okay, so just wanted to kind of continue the conversation as we're looking at next steps. Remember the resolution we did for lease-back caused two board actions to happen. The hard bid, which is what we've been doing with Measure I, there wasn't that extra step. So really the timing, which we shared at the last two presentations ago, is that basically we're going to finish up the design with the architects now. We'll start pre-qualifying our contractors around December, January to find out which contractors can bid the jobs. By then we start finishing up and getting the drawings finished and approved by DSA. And then the hopes is to have that in front of the board for consideration and action either at the February or March board meeting, so that all of our paperwork is in line for that project to start summer of '26. And that would be, right now, we're projecting it to be complete over the winter break of '27. The next projects, I kind of summarized all that with, sorry about the graphics. The next step is the leaseback. Now, this has the two processes that we talked about. So we did our first resolution that was approved in April. We then pre-qualified our contractors in May. And tonight's board meeting is basically approving, asking you to consider and take action on the preliminary service agreements, which are the agreements that allows the contractors to come on board and start working side by side with the architects as they develop those drawings, so that the architect and the contractor are working together so that we can finalize all of that, take it to the state for approval, and have that taken so that we would be coming back to you at the March or April board meeting to basically approve the guaranteed final price after we've bid out all of the subcontractors and trades to go build and deliver these projects. Again, the start of the construction, as we heard earlier, all of these are summer of '26. And depending on which one they are, basically through 2028 is when we would complete all these projects. So I think the key point that we talked about, the leaseback allows us to do a lot of projects at the same time because we're really cultivating collaboration with all of the partners that we're approving with agreements. The piece that I want to talk about now is kind of where we're landing and how we got to tonight's action. The board resolution that you guys approved in April basically had a lot of tools inside of it. There are scoring pre-qualification questionnaire documents that we would give to all the contractors, all the things that they have to provide, all the scoring that they have to do to basically be qualified to be able to do these types of projects. The other attachments that were there are the matrix that we would use internally to score all of those findings and all of those reports and all the pieces that we have to be able to qualify them to move on to multiple steps through this process. The last piece is a scoring criteria if we just did a standalone proposal. There's two processes that we can do at the same time or separate where we're asking contractors to deliver their qualifications. Show us all the things that you can qualify: experience, bondability, insurance, safety ratings. Those are the qualifications that says that this company is allowed to do that. Then you would ask them for a proposal. What we did is we combined both processes, and we basically asked the contractor, give us your qualifications and the proposals based on our rough budgets of these projects. So once we had that going, basically our timeline is what we have here. We started the advertisements that started this process April 17th and 24th, which is our requirement to do 2 newspaper ads and 1 journal, a trade journal posting, which is the same thing we do through our CUPCA process. We needed, in that advertisement, basically here's the qualifications and all the processes that the contractors need to do and fill out to be able to turn it into us in a timely manner for us to score their qualifications and give them the proper notice to say, you're qualified, you can now bid this project. So we were asking to get all of those packets back to us by May 23rd. And when we did a mandatory job walk, we had 23 contractors show up, and we walked 3 of these project sites and explained all the scope and went through that. Out of those 23 contractors, 17 of them were able to get pre-qualified, and we basically said, you 17 can bid the projects, and we ended up getting 11 submissions for all of these projects. So in the market right now, I would consider that really good coverage. We got great qualified contractors to come after our jobs. They met all the criteria. And out of those 11, we ended up interviewing 9 of those firms because 2 of those firms actually pulled back out because they ended up getting 3 or 4 jobs awarded to them during the time we started the process. So we interviewed 9 firms, and all of those 9 firms clearly had the experience to do the work that we needed. So how we distinguish the difference between, 11 contractors is our interview process, we really focus the energy on the team that's being provided by the firm. So as we went through the process, we were making sure that we asked these firms to provide us the project superintendent that's going to be on the job, the project manager that's going to be on the job, the project engineer that's going to be on the job, and we asked them to put a 20-minute PowerPoint presentation together to introduce their team. What jobs are they coming off on? What successes have they had? How great they collaborate together? What lessons learned? So that the panel that we put together could really understand the team, and we were making our final decision based on the skill set and the experience that the firm provided us. Because all 9 firms could have done this work. We wanted to set that apart and distinguish it a little bit more. So these are the 3 companies that we ended up bringing together today for you guys to consider and take action on. Erickson Hall, I just want to make note of, was one of the contractors 2 bonds ago that did a lot of the 2-story buildings here in Fullerton Joint Union, and had great project success back then. I've worked with them in multiple districts. They've got great references. They do a lot of K-12 work in a lease-back environment throughout pretty much Southern California. They're a San Diego-based company. Balfour Beatty is a large company, and Bernard's is also a local company. So these are the 3 firms that are coming here. The teams were exceptional. We felt like they really fit. So the interview panel, we had 2 assistant principals of instruction, one from Fullerton Union and one from Troy, because those are 2 bigger projects. We had 2 of our architects sit on the panel. Mr. Hernandez sat on the panel. I sat on the panel with my entire construction team. So we had 9 of us that went through a 2-day process of interviewing these 9 firms, and felt like we were very successful, and we got really, really good teams, and feel really good about where we're headed with this. So in recapping really where we're at, as you heard earlier, the lease-back is those 3, the projects that we're looking at: the athletic 2-story building at Fullerton, the seismic modernization at Troy, and the 3 track and fields. These dollar amounts all fit within the range that we talked about. So the athletic building's got a rough budget based on our master plan of about $27 million. The seismic modernization is both the seismic upgrade and the modernization. That's about a $40 million budget. And the 3 individual tracks are $14 million each, putting that all together at $42 million. So that's the dollar amount for those large projects. Again, we keep showing you we're doing about $145 million of the work starting next summer. And then the one standalone hard bid project is the Sonoran Science Lab that has about a rough estimate somewhere between $7 to $8 million, which fits kind of our little category of under $12 million. So with that ends our presentation. If you have any questions.
Do the board members have any questions?
You go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Joanne.
Mine is on the timeline of the completion of the Sonora Lab. So I noticed it's going to take a little over a year and a quarter-ish. That seems like a long time. Is that because school's in session, or?
Well, it's not,
Excuse
yeah,
me.
it won't be starting until summer of '26, so we're still finalizing the drawings pretty much this school year and into the summer, and that'll be done. And then once we start it, say June or July, basically we're done November, December-ish.
Oh, because it
moving
said
over the winter break.
27, I think.
I thought it was, yeah, so so if it goes into January, it'll be 27, yes.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
it's like right at the beginning
I see what
of
you're,
that
because
calendar year.
I
yeah.
misread it and I thought it was going to take a year and a quarter. That makes much more sense. Thank you.
5 to 6 months, yes.
Got it.
Sorry about that.
Ms. Pucci?
Thank you for your presentation. You know I like details. That was great. I do have one question not related to that. It looks like we're, next spring is when everything's really going to start. Do we have any major projects going on this summer?
Oh, yeah, we have 32 projects going on right now. I think the largest one is the exterior painting of the La Habra campus in its totality.
Okay.
We have the 2 fence projects, one at Buena Park and some of the Pomona side of Fullerton Union. Those are both contingent on DSA approval, which We should have DSA, we'll have a letter tomorrow for Buena Park, and we're hoping that within 2 weeks of that, we'll have the Fullerton Pomona fence. So those are really the big ones. We're doing a culinary arts remodel on the classroom downstairs at Fullerton. Man, you put me on the spot. I should have all 32 of
I'm
these projects
sorry.
off the top of my head. But yeah, there's mostly deferred maintenance, CTE dollars, the special fund that we funded for the fencing, and yeah, deferred maintenance. We're doing some roofing at Sunny Hills and Sonora. We're doing flooring at
And
Sonora.
just so you don't miss anything, how about we also will communicate the
Yeah,
rest of
I've-
those?
I've got
You
the
got the
list,
big
and I would
ones.
love to share the list.
There's more to
Yes.
come, but I don't want you to leave one off for us.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, 32 projects.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks.
I don't have any questions, but I want to thank you for explaining the process of how you came to land with these three contractors. Because we just hear sort of this nebulous, there's bids, and you did a really great job of explaining how we got to this point. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay, we'll move on. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Human resource, before taking a final action on the employment agreement for local agency executives or salary or benefits increase for our current local agency executive, the board must provide an oral report in public session that complies with the government code, section 54953C3. This is an action item. Amendment to the contract for superintendent of schools. Our script. Here we go. Okay. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the amendment to the agreement for the employment of superintendent of schools. Agenda item 11.31 includes proposed contract amendments for the superintendent. The specific contract amendments are a part of the agenda backup material, which was posted with the agenda on Friday, June 6, 2025. Prior to the vote on the contract amendment, I will read the statement required by law. Effectively, January 1st, 2017, pursuant of Government Code, Section 54953, Subdivision C3, before taking final action on the employment agreement for local agency executives or salary or benefit increase for current local agency executives, the board must provide an oral summary of the salary and the fringe benefits of local agency executives. Local agency executives is defined by Government Code 3511.1, Subdivision D1 through 3, as a chief executive officer, deputy chief executive office, or an assistant chief executive office of local agency. In our district, we consider the superintendent, assistant superintendent, and any other administrators and managers who are a department head and are employed by the individual contract. Pursuant of the Government Code, Section 54953, Subdivision C3, the board provides an oral summary of the salary and fringe benefits increase, including in the proposed amendment to the contract for the employment of Superintendent Dr. Stephen McLaughlin. In the terms of the contract amended between the district and the superintendent is from July 1, 25 through July 30th, 2029. Effective July 1, 2025, the superintendent's base salary will be adjusted by the same percentage and the same implementation dated as approved by the Board of Trustees for certificated bargaining until salary schedule represents by the Fullerton Secretary Teachers Association. The base salary will also be subject to the following terms: 25-26, 2% salary increase, and 2% off schedule payment at year end. 26-27, salary schedule increase 60 of the statutory funded COLA plus any funded ongoing augmentation as provided in the State Budget Act, 2% off schedule payment at your year's end. 25, 26, 28 through 28, salary schedule increase 50 of the statutory fund of COLA plus any funded ongoing augmentation as provided in the State Budget Act, 2% off schedule payment at year end. The cabinet salary schedule will be amended and posted online to reflect changes to the base compensation. The number of vacation days been amended to a maximum of 25 days annually. The district will contribute the amount equal to the maximum annual contribution allowable by law annually, which is currently $23,500 in a tax shelter annuity plan, 403B or 457B, selected by the superintendent. Contributions will be made in equal monthly installment and are in addition to superintendent's base salary. All the terms of the contract and its amendments will remain the same. Is there a motion to approve the contract amendment of superintendent?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, I have something I want to say. As president of this board, and I want to make sure that we were doing things correctly with annuity, sorry about that. And I went through legal, so everything was done appropriately. We went through our tax person over there at AALRR. So everything was done legally, and we have a fiduciary responsibility, and we did that. So I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Okay, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? 5-0. No, here we go.
I shortened this one.
Okay, I don't know how that's it.
You don't have to repeat some of them.
Action items, amendment to contract, Assistant Superintendent of Administration Services, Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, Assistant Superintendent of Education, Assistant Services, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. Here we go, the script. The next items of consideration is approval of amendment of the agreement of employment of the Assistant Superintendent with the Fullerton Joint Union High School District. This agenda includes proposed changes to employment contract of the district assistant superintendent. The details of the proposed amendment are outlined in the agenda's supporting documentation, which were publicly posted along with agendas on Friday, June 6, 2025. Pursuant of Government Code 54953C3, the board once again provides the oral summary of the salary and fringe benefits increase included in the same proposed amendment to the contract for employment of Assistant Superintendent Administration Service, Dr. Carl Zener, Assistant Superintendent of Business Service, Ruben, Assistant Superintendent of Education Assessment Service, Dr. Sylvia Kaufman, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, Mark Miller. The terms of the amended contract is from July 1, 25 through June 30, 28. Effectively July 1st, the base salary will be adjusted by the same percentages on the same implementation date as those approved for the certificated bargaining unit salary schedule represented by the Fullerton Secondary Teacher Association. Salary schedule adjust 25-26, 2% salary schedule increase and a 2% off schedule payment at year end. 26-27 salary schedule increase 60 of the sanctuaries funded to COLA plus any funded ongoing augmentation as provided in state budget act, 2% off schedule payment year end. 27-28 salary schedule increase 50% of the statutory fund COLA plus any funded ongoing augmentation as provided in the state budget act, 2% off schedule payment at year end. The cabinet salary schedule will be amended and posted online to reflect these changes. Almost there. Here we go. The district will contribute up to $10,000 annually into a tax shelter annuity plan 503B or 557B selected by the assistant superintendent. Contribution will be made in equal monthly installments, and there are any addition to their base salary. All other terms of the contract and its prior amendments will remain the same. Motions. Okay. Is there a motion to approve the amendment to contract for Assistant Superintendent Administrative Services? Motion.
Second.
Okay, you got that. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those say no. Vote no. Is there a motion to approve the amendment to the contract of Assistant Superintendent of Business Services?
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those say no. I didn't say, is there any discussion? Sorry about that. Okay. Is there a motion to approve the amendment to the contract of Assistant Superintendent of Education Assessment Services?
Move approval.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? 5-0. Is there a motion to approve the amendment to the contract of Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources?
Move approval.
She said Mayor.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? 5-0.
Somebody else can talk.
All right.
You're gonna do something.
Oh, God. Okay. Comprehensive Quarterly Board Policy Reviews Update. First reading information. I would like to call Assistant Superintendent Administrative Services, Dr. Carl Zener, to present the Comprehensive Quarterly Board Policy Review and updates. This is for information only and is not an action item. Someone breathe.
It's hard to believe it's been a year already since I provided my last board policy update. That went very quickly. And I just want to start off by remembering, why do we do this? Our big why. Legal compliance, successful governance of districts, and there's new laws every year. Thank you, Weston.
Now we can hear you.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's our why. And how do we do it? How do we do it in Fullerton Joint? So we're really intentional about being compliant and current, consistent, focused on our local culture, and our policies are now readable and searchable. Really big upgrade for our district over the last year. And so let's go back a year, a reminder what we did last year. Last year in the 23-24 school year, if you remember, 2 Julys ago, we sat down with CSBA for a training and said, we've never done this and we'd like to update our policies. And they said, great, we're gonna sit down with you for 3 days and you'll be done. And we said, hold on. We have about 600 policies we need to look at. I don't know if 3 days is enough. So our superintendent stepped in and said, we're gonna take a year. And so we took a year-long process of being very thorough and intentional of our update from last year. What has this year looked like? So we updated our policies, but doesn't mean our work is done, because every quarter, CSBA sends us new updates. And for this school year, we had 7 quarterly updates to look at. We had the 4 that came through on their normal process, but we were also backlogged from the previous school year, and we had to do the 3 quarters before, because we were so focused heavily on updating the big lift from last school year. And our updates include 2 areas: CSBA recommended updates and decisions our staff makes of policies we feel that need to be updated. So what do the CSB updates entail? What is their why, their reasons? New laws, ed code updates, and language. Simple language changes. For example, if you remember our dress code from a few years ago, it used to be called grooming, student grooming. We said, well, a language change would be student dress code. So a very simple example of that with language. Policies by the numbers. This is a really important slide, and this is what we did last year. We started with 553 policies. We had 654 new or revised policies to examine from CSBA, And we ended up with a total of 664. So we took the 654 from CSBA. We also had 10 of our own. And that resulted in over a 98% policy update for last year. And this is a reminder of how we stay organized. They are ordered from the zeros to the 9,000s. They have their different areas, and then I have this great team to work with here of who is responsible for what area. And this shows us which areas had the updates. You can see except for the 2000s, everybody had updates. Most happened in the 3000s business, the 5,000 students, and the 6,000 of instruction had the bulk of our updates this year. And so what did the numbers look like for this year? So again, we started this year with 664. We've revised 104 of those with approval. With second reading in July, we will stay with 664. And you can see this year we've gone from 98% to just over 15% update for this school year. So let's look at some examples. What did this look like for us this year? So I'm going to start with just 3 simple CSBA examples. Board Policy 6158 was independent study. The ed code changed, so the one line that changed now reads, for signed agreements must be used for 15 days or more, not 16 days. So it was a change of 1 day. Board Policy 6112, the school day, they added the line, educational program means the entire school-sponsored offering for students, including in-class and out-of-class activities. So they added the out-of-class activities. And then Board Policy 5126, awards, they added this line. No fee or other cost shall be charged to any student in relation to any requirements in qualifying for or receiving any district achievement awards. So these are some simple examples of CSBA recommended changes that we have accepted. Then there are district changes. Changes our staff decides that we need to make to better serve our students and our staff, our community, and our district. And as you will remember from our May meeting, Noelle, our student board member, provided some updates and recommendations from her perspective. And in that update, she had a couple bylaws that she recommended be revised. An example was Board Bylaw 9150, and Noelle presented this. It's an update and recommendations that the wording be changed to now read, student board members shall receive compensation for attendance at board meetings and other student board member duties. So that has been a recommended change, not by CSBA, but by us. And that leads into also Board Bylaw 9250, which now has the new language at the bottom. Student board members shall receive a board-approved monetary compensation for meetings attended and other student board member duties. Student board members will be required to obtain a work permit in addition to completing an employment packet with Human Resources. So a big thank you to the board for your feedback in May, which led to these changes, which now makes a student board member getting paid very complete in terms of doing the Keenan training, a work permit, and an HR packet. So a reminder, we are now in the quarterly update system. We did 7 quarters this year. Looking forward, we'll go 4 quarters because we'll be caught up. A reminder, again, our policies by the number. We are changing about 15% of our policies this year. And it's a team. It's a team. We did it our way, very thoughtful approach, taking our time, and being able to come to you every year with these updates has been very thorough and has really made us feel that we're doing these things with fidelity. So I want to thank the board for that. A reminder, today is a first reading. The 21st of July would be second reading adoption. And then just ending with a thank you to everyone here at the dais, my cabinet team, our directors, our managers, our coordinators, our principals, our admin assistants. Especially, I'd like to thank Deanna Oseguera and Carrie Montoya. Not only do they keep my work world organized, they were integral in this update policy process of helping keep things organized. So thank you very much. Thank you to everybody at the dais, and thank you to the board. That concludes my presentation. This is a first reading, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Does anybody have any questions? No? Okay. 11.51, communication. I would like to call Assistant Superintendent of Administrative Service, Dr. Carl Zener, to give us a communication update. This is for information only. It's a non-action item.
Well, thank you, President Calhoun, members of the board, and Dr. McLaughlin. As we come together to celebrate the class of 2025, we are excited to share a special video with you, which was I want to thank B43 for putting this together so quickly. This is our 2025 district graduation video, which highlights the incredible moments from each of our school graduations across the Fullerton Joint Union High School District. As we close out the 24-25 school year, we want to thank our incredible staff for making this a successful year and our community for their continued support of our students and schools. Please enjoy.
Our theme this year is Uniting Communities, Engaging Minds, and Building Futures. Today is a graduation event encapsulating all that went into providing support and service to our students. We'd like to thank the teachers, the staff, the community, everybody for participating in this year and supporting all of our kids.
It was a fun night, you know, celebration, the moments, it just means everything to me and like all of our friends and everything.
IB community, it was like our little circle that was really unique to us, and all the connections I made with everyone, I'm gonna miss that a lot.
It's exciting because I've got a lot of things in the future ahead. I'm going to a Fullerton Community College, and I'm going to be in their choir, their women's chorale.
I love Troy. It was a place that I kind of hoped for him since he was in kindergarten, and I truly think he found his people and his purpose here. I'm really happy that this was the path that he ended up choosing as well.
The reason why I'm so excited about them walking across this stage is because I know they've worked so hard, and I know they'll be successful in any endeavor. So this is a big day for all of our students, and I'm looking forward to seeing them in the future and seeing what they do with themselves, because I know they'll do great. Yay! Thanks, girl. Do the board members have any question or would like to share a comment? Okay. Consent calendar. Are there any items the board members would like to pull from the consent calendar? Okay. Any motion to approve? Okay, where's it?
Move approval of the consent.
Yeah. Second.
Second.
Any discussion? No? Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, okay. Okay. Board members, superintendent comments. Are there any comments for the board or superintendent?
I have a quick comment so we can get out the door. But as we're in summer mode, if you see Dr. Jang in his Hawaiian shirt, it must be summer mode. So happy summer to everybody. We have another summer meeting now on July 21st, and then prior to the start of the school year in August. A couple quick announcements. And one, we do have our Director of Physical Services in the back. So Mr. Bashar Rami, pending board approval, Rami has been announced as the new CBO for the Centralia Elementary School District right here in Anaheim. So we're excited. So congratulations, Rami. Pending board approval tomorrow. You'll be moving on, but we just want to say thank you for your service to the district for 3+ years. You've been a really important part of this district and helping with shaping our fiscal services program, and we wish you all the best. Congratulations, Rami. Yeah, nice job. And then finally, she wasn't here last night, or last time, so I'm going to just say thank you, Joni, in person. All my comments are up in the YouTuberverse, but as you move into the retiree part of your life, we know you're going to stay connected. But from me to you, I've deeply appreciated our relationship. I know it will continue. And thank you to the service to the district, right? The people that sit next to you and around you, and to representing your unit members at such a high level. It's been a pleasure. And I know, again, it's not goodbye, it's see you around. So thank you, Joni. Happy retirement. That concludes my comments.
And we are now adjourned. Have a nice evening, everyone.